Everybody, I've been really enjoying grading your PAC PBLs, and a lot of you guys put in the comments like I learned a lot through this, and a lot of you guys say, I didn't know this before, and it was very good research. I just want to give you some feedback on it. First off, it is research. That's what it's all about. Especially if you decide to give money to some of these organizations, you want to know how they're spending their money. Is it just going to pay somebody's salary, or do they actually put it towards good use? And you can use that guidestar.org to vet, like, if you want to give money between, Goodwill Industries or St. Vincent de Paul, which are both thrift stores. You want to say, who's using their money better. You can go into guidestar.org and see how they're spending their money. But it's all about research and put links. Some of you guys got low scores on it, and it's just because, the presentations weren't that bad, but you didn't use references. And so this presentation, it is references. Like, you guys will have to, back up what you say. You can't just tell me information without telling me where you got it. And I expect you guys to expect that from other people too. If somebody tells you something, you need to say, like, okay, where's the information coming from? Because there's so much misinformation out there now. Some of you guys have put down that the companies make revenue, but they're not a business, so they have no expenses, or something like that. That is not exactly accurate. Okay, what you're thinking of it. They are a non-profit. So there's 3 different types of organizations in our society. You got, this is broadly speaking. Obviously, there's more than 3. You've got government. Okay, we all know city government, Shepherdsville, or whatever. And then you've got private business. This is like Apple makes my smartphone, or Nike makes my sweater. These companies make profit. They try to make as much profit as possible, and then they try to, and then with the profit, they give it back to their shareholders, the owners. Okay, so when you give money or you buy something from a business, the profit after expenses are paid out goes to the owners of the business. Okay, now they can have other expenses like build new stores or reinvest in capital, or they could spend money on lobbyists to influence the government, but that is a expense. Okay, the third type of organization is a nonprofit, and this is set up to do a service in the community. PAC is a nonprofit because their service is to hopefully make government better. That's for you to decide if they all do that. What's an example of a nonprofit? Goodwill Industries, where I buy my used clothes. What else? The Salvation Army. You give money to the bell ringers at the grocery store in the winter. What else? The local animal shelter is probably a nonprofit. Okay. If you have a club basketball team that you play for, somebody plays for, that is a nonprofit. They don't make money to give to the owners. Of course, you could set up a basketball team as a business and give yourself the profits. But that's not to say that these companies don't make money and don't spend money. Okay. Goodwill Industries as a nonprofit, or another one that came up to the top of my head is United Way. Okay, these nonprofits can have enormous revenues and enormous expenses. All right, millions and millions of dollars. And as you saw, some of these CEOs of these PACs make millions of dollars in salary. Okay, but when all the accounting is done, okay, there's no owners to give all the leftover money to. They have to reinvest all that money back into the business, okay? And some of that might look like spending, but there's no owners to distribute profits from, okay? So we don't say there's profits, we say there's revenues and expenses, and there's a balance. And as you guys pointed out with the NRA, their balance was negative in 2019 because they had so much expenses from legal stuff, lawsuits against them, and other stuff that happened, and some of their stuff dropped. I'm not sure if membership dropped, but like people subscribed to less magazines or bought less stuff or something. But yeah, they lost quite a bit of money, as you guys can see. So just know the difference, and know that yes, your PACs have expenses. They do spend money. They spend money on salaries. They spend money on photocopies. They spend money on rent for their headquarters. They spend money on putting on conferences. They spend money on, I don't know if they're allowed to buy their congressman lunch or not to talk about some of this stuff. There's different rules for different times, and they're always changing. But you can't say that they have no expenses or they're a nonprofit, so it doesn't matter. You could have a nonprofit with very little revenue, like, if somebody runs a little bird rescue and they just take in birds and rescue birds, they might have a very small budget, but they definitely have revenues, they definitely have expenses, okay? So I hope this helps. I really enjoyed doing your projects, grading your projects, and put your projects in the gallery walk if you haven't yet, and once that's filled up, then we'll send it out and we'll all look at each other's projects and get feedback on them, okay?